Well, I guess I would say, how am I doing, and anything you can help me with to let me allow more.
Nope.
Oh.
We're playing with you a little bit.
I know.
Because when you are that diffused in your focus,
okay,
not very much comes. In other words,
sure.
we could conjure some stuff for you.
Sure.
But what we really want is something more focused from you.
Certainly.
In other words, when you say generally how am I doing, we say, all right.
Okay.
When you get more specific in your question, we get more specific in our answer.
Certainly.
We're sort of like the universe.
Yeah. Well, I know. My assumption had been that you knew all of what I'd been doing with the work. Anyway, doesn't matter. One thing.
Well, we do, but you have to understand, this is a focused moment, in other words. And so, don't you want in on it? In other words...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I know that I've got mounds of great things stacked up around the door.
Yes.
And I've been working with the tapes for about 10 years, and so I know that I'm not allowing all that I could. So I'm
it helps to know that you never get it done. In other words, there'll always be more and more and more. But we can feel, and it is the reason that we're playing with you in the way that we are, that we've been talking here today. We talk about this all the time, about how your life experience causes you to ask, and that the universe hears it and lines it up for you. And sometimes our physical friends have this confusion. In fact, it came up a few times today about, well, which is it, Abraham? Am I the deliberate creator of my experience, or shall I just let go and let God? Am I the creator of my experience, or do I just pet my cat and relax and allow? And you heard us say to our friend just now that everything is lined up and that you're really wanting to work on letting it in. And while we want you, all of you, to focus more on reducing resistance, because, as you said so clearly, you have got enough lined up for 20 or 30 lifetimes, and so the work really is in finding more ways to be less resistant or more allowing in order to let in what you are wanting. There is nothing more delicious than to be specifically focused upon specific things that you are wanting while you are letting it in. And we think that this is most what you're wanting to hear from us. And we'll be very clear about this. It will benefit all of you. So, for example, to say, I saw a new car and I love the idea of it. And it costs a lot of money, but it feels good just to think about being in it. And whatever will be, will be. And so the universe knows I want the car, and I've wanted it for a long time. And now I'm just not going to think about it anymore because the universe has got that handled. That's one way of approaching it. And if you were really feeling negative about the car, that's the way we would encourage you to approach it. But we think that it is ever so much more hands-on and delicious, deliberate creating to think about the car, to pretend you're in the car, to talk about the color of the car, to smell the leather of the car, to pretend you're in the car, to imagine being in the car, to go test drive the car, to look at the car, to think about driving the car, to imagine having the car in your garage, even to making a place for the car, to telling other people about the car. In other words, we think that the more specifically involved you get energetically with the car, the more satisfying the unfolding of the car can be, unless you have convinced yourself that you don't get what you want. And we can sort of feel that from you. We can feel that from a lot of you, where you have sort of shied away from getting too specific for very long about the things that you want, because you get tired of wanting things that don't come. And so you don't let yourself focus upon them very much. And the result of that is you sort of feel limp. Where what we really want you to do is to get into this sort of cocky, arrogant attitude where you begin to believe that the universe will give you anything and everything that you want, and see yourself as the maestro that is directing the energy toward the specifics of things. And you want to start with things that you already believe that you can achieve, because lining up that energy right away will give you instant manifestations on some things. And then every day just add more to your list and add more to your list and add more to your list. We can feel that you understand very clearly the principles that we have been expressing for a very long period of time. And we do not feel a big disconnect within you about worthiness. In other words, we don't feel that you are deliberately holding yourself apart from things. But we can feel, not just with you, but with a lot of our physical friends, that you've stopped being very deliberate about things because you are feeling the discomfort, you're tired of feeling the discord of wanting things that don't come easily. And so you decided that you would sort of just take another tact in it, and you got really heavy on allowing. Now, this is really a great deal of fun for us, because as we begin to interact with our physical friends and we talk about the science of deliberate creation, many of you get very clear. You start thinking about what you want. You start setting goals, and you start sucking in the thoughts that don't match what you're wanting. You worry about talking negatively. You're afraid that the universe will take off with you on something that you don't want. And so you get very sort of worried about directing your thoughts at all times. And then we notice that in your attempt to be deliberate creators, that you are not relaxed and allowing as much. So then we begin emphasizing the art of allowing. We begin saying to you that, yes, of course it's important that you want things, and it's nice to set those goals, and it's nice to write down what you are wanting. But the universe already knows what you want. The universe heard you the first 100,000 times that you said that you wanted it, and it's already lined up for you. Now your work is to relax and let in what you've been saying you want. You've gone overboard on relaxing and letting in. In other words, in the same way that we began expressing the art of allowing in order to get people who were very anal, who were focused very specifically on what they were wanting, now we'd sort of like to get you focused more upon your goals. And we think that now, this time when you do it, we think it will go very well for you because you've done enough relaxing. You've come into alignment with who you are. You're beginning to expect good things to come for you. You have evidence of that. You have knowledge of the law of attraction. You don't misunderstand the correlation between what you're thinking and what you're feeling and what you're getting. You're beginning to understand that the universe is always consistent. And we think that even though you have launched desires and the universe knows what they are, that a little bit of attention to what you are wanting would net you some big results right away. So tell us, relative to your, we're going to take 4 categories, relative to your body, what do you want?
Dynamic, radiant health. And
we
energy.
feel that clearly. No misalignment there. Okay. Relative to your home, what do you want?
Functional, paid for, beautiful, and I can feel myself.
All right, that's down. Really a mess there.
Yeah,
all right.
A mess.
Relative to your money, what do you want?
To be in a place of pure choice where I need to pay little attention to it, where there's
all right, that's messy too. Okay. And relative to your work, what do you want?
None at all.
Well, there is hope for you. Not a lot, but some. We're just playing with you here. Now, let's go back to the subject of dollars, which seem to be everywhere in there, and a big source of the contradiction in vibration that we feel from you. So, do you think that the things that you want will come primarily through the vortex of dollars?
Primarily.
And do you think that dollars will come primarily through the vortex called work? Yes, you do. Yeah. And therein lies your problem, because you have all of these things that you want, that you believe come through the vortex called dollars, and that you believe that the dollars come through the vortex called work, and you don't want any work. And so you've sort of got yourself in this place where you can't let it work for you because your desires are all sort of contradicting one another. Yeah. So we want to begin by saying to you, first of all, that all kinds of things that you want can come easily to you. In other words, the only thing of all of those topics that are the major topics of your life that was really lined up was the subject of your physicalness. And the reason that was lined up is because money isn't hooked into that. You see, and money and work are not hooked into that. And so, as you think about anything that has to do with dollars, it sort of confuses the issue here for you. And that's why so often we say to our physical friends, let's take dollars out of the equation altogether. And let's focus just for a moment on the fact that Source knows what you are wanting and is yielding it to you, and that well-being can flow to you in lots of different ways. And one of those ways is dollars, but it's not the only way.
Right.
In other words, there is the abundance of clarity, and there is the abundance of stamina, and there is abundance of energy, and there is the abundance of fun, and there is the abundance of love. There's all kinds of abundance that you are experiencing that does not have anything to do with the abundance of dollars. Dollars is just another avenue or another subject through which abundance can flow. Now, we have a series of questions for you, and we think as we ask them and you answer them that things will begin to line up for you just a little bit. So just relax and sort of enjoy this if you can. Are there things that you enjoy spending your time doing?
Yes.
Have you ever enjoyed anything that brought dollars?
Oh, yes.
As a physically focused being, do you enjoy the experience of action?
Oh, yes.
And as you offer action, can you imagine being paid for it?
Oh, yes.
Does the idea of paid action mean the same thing to you as work?
Oh, boy. Well, knowing that I have so much charge around the word work, I'm thinking that it doesn't.
Well, then we would leave the word work out. In other words, we would start saying there are all kinds of things that I love doing. And I like the idea of doing things that I love to do, and I like the idea of dollars flowing in response to what I'm doing. And now you've sort of circumvented that vibration that is your bugaboo. We visited with a woman one day, and she said, "My mother is so unhappy, and I would like to help her be happier, but I don't think that I can." And we said, "Oh, you're in such an uncomfortable position because you believe that your mother is unhappy, and it's hard for you to be happy while she is unhappy, and you believe that she needs you to help make her happy, but you don't believe you can make her happy. And so you're sort of in this place where you can't line up your energy with anything." And we're feeling a similar thing with you as you say, there are all of these things that I want. I want a house that is paid for. I want experiences that dollars can flow through. I just don't want to do anything that would bring dollars to me. And what we can feel from you is, I don't expect dollars to flow without the work, and I don't want to do the work.
Right.
And so we think that your sincere answer to these questions, we think that there are a lot of things you like to do. And we think that you accept that dollars can flow to you in response to the things that you like to do. And so we think that you have circumvented that vibrational obstacle is too strong of word, but contradiction that was keeping you from it. So now, as you ask your first question to us, how am I doing? We say, we can feel that something just opened, and we can feel that those things that are lined up outside your door are beginning to move toward you. And our encouragement to you is, don't shy away from action. Just don't call it work.
Okay, great. Interesting, because I do things that bring me money.
Yes.
And that I think I enjoy.
Yes.
So I'm
and yet you said very boldly to us, you don't want any work.
Well, yes, and I was joking a bit, and I do know that it would be my ultimate choice to not work, to just have. Yeah.
Well,
so there it
is. There it is, and that will never work for you, because what you're saying with that is something that's so defiant of the law. Because you see, what you've come forth into this environment, you came forth to be inspired to desire. And then you intended to align with the desire in order to allow the expression of it. In other words, that's what creating is. Creating is identifying the pathway through thought and then coming into vibrational alignment with the thought in order to allow the manifestation. That's what deliberate creation in this physical format is, you see. And so we think that what you're saying to us is what so many say, Abraham, it's not been very much fun trying to make things happen without lining up energy. And it's been so much not fun trying to make things happen without lining up energy that I've decided I don't want to play the game anymore. And we say, then play a different game. Line up energy and enjoy the deliciousness of the action that is inspired from that alignment.